If you have your Bibles, go ahead and turn to John chapter 14. It'd be very helpful if you follow along in your text today in John chapter 14. It says that we did not see Jesus when he was in that upper room, that song that we just sang, but I sort of want us to envision being in that upper room with Jesus this morning. And not only in the upper room, be with him as he leaves the upper room and starts the walk towards the Garden of Gethsemane. While he's in this upper room, I can't but help to imagine that the mood was very somber. Jesus doesn't go from having this jovial spirit to going to the garden where he is sweating drops of blood. So the whole evening was probably a somber experience. Jesus has already told them that Judas is going to betray him. He told them to leave and do it quickly. He told all the apostles, all of you are going to forsake me. And they all said, no, not me, I won't do it. Peter was the most vehement to say, I will never forsake you, I will die with you. So as they're in the room that evening, Jesus has some very important things to tell them. This is the last time he's going to have to talk to them before he's dead, before he dies. And I think that somber mood, that reflective mindset that the apostles had that evening helped open their minds to understand a few things Jesus had been trying to get through to them for 3 years. And I find it very interesting that Jesus doesn't miss this opportunity, because what he does on 5 different occasions that night, he says, I'm telling you this, so. Now, I don't know if you ever had a teacher that really wanted his students to pass. And as he was trying to explain something to you, he would say, now this is very important, right? And you would all know, well, that's going to be on the test. And you'd write that down, you study that one because that's going to be on the test. So here you have Jesus saying to his apostles that night, I'm telling you this, so. So I want to read these 5 times, and then we're going to go back and discuss the first of these 5 times, and hopefully we'll hit some of these other times where Jesus says this on other occasions. So I'm in John chapter 14 and verse 29. John chapter 14 and verse 29. He says this, I have told you now before it happens, so that when it does happen, you will believe. Look at chapter 15 and verse 11. Chapter 15 and verse 11. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. Chapter 16 and verse 1. All this I have told you so that you will not go astray. Chapter 16 and verse 4. I have told you this so when the time comes you will remember that I warned you. I did not tell you this at first because I was with you. And John chapter 16 and verse 33, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. So I find that I just sort of came across this in our class this time, that so many times in this text, Jesus is saying, I told you this, so this. I told you this, so this. And so the 5 things that I think Jesus really, really wanted his disciples to get from this, he wanted them to have faith, joy, perseverance, assurance, and peace. I'm telling you all this so that you may have faith, you may have joy, you may have perseverance, you may have assurance, and you may have peace. So let's just look at the first one. John 14, verse 29. I have told you now before it happens, so when it does happen, you will believe. Jesus' focus was not primarily on that they believed that certain events were going to take place, or that they believed that he could perform miracles. Jesus wanted them that night to understand and believe in him, to believe in his Father, and to believe in the relationship that he shared with his Father, because that was going to be the basis of our relationship with the Father and the Son. And he wanted them specifically to come to terms, to come to grips with this very important fact, that God sent Jesus into the world. That's part of that relationship, because that's totally different than everything else that all other religions are based on. Jesus says, you have to believe that I was in heaven, that I am God, and that God sent me down here, and I'm going back to the Father. As a matter of fact, John chapter 14 starts that way. It says, let not your heart be troubled. Believe in God. Believe in me. Now, Thomas gets concerned about this, the logistics of how all this is going to happen. Where is Jesus going and all this good stuff? And Jesus says, you don't get it yet. I told you to believe in me, because I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one goes to the Father except through me. And in John chapter 14 and verse 7, this conversation continues, and it says, if you had known me, you would have known my Father also, and from now on you know him and have seen him. Philip said to him, Lord, show us the Father, it is sufficient for us. Jesus said to him, have I been with you so long, and yet you do not know me, Philip? He who has seen me has seen the Father. So how can you say, show us the Father? Do you not believe that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak to you, I do not speak on my own authority, but the Father who dwells in me does the works. Believe in me, that I am in the Father, and the Father in me, or else believe me for the sake of the works themselves. Now, it was believing in Jesus and God, and that relationship was what he wanted them to understand that night. You go to chapter 14 and verse 12. Chapter 14 and verse 12 says this, most assuredly I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he will do also, and greater works than these he will do, because I go to the Father. So think about this. I can't help but imagine that a year later, the apostles are thinking about this, and they're saying, remember, he said we were going to do greater works than him, and we believe in him, and look what we're able to do. That was true. And they go back and believe that Jesus was who he said he was. John chapter 16. Now, he's on his way to the garden now. They've left the upper room. They left the upper room at the end of chapter 14. John 16 and verse 8 says, and when he has come, this is talking about the Holy Spirit, he will convict the world of sin and of righteousness and of judgment, of sin, because they do not believe in me. Guys, you got to believe in me. You got to believe in my Father. And you got to believe in that relationship that we have together. John 16. This is very important. John 16, starting in verse 25. These things I have spoken to you in figurative language, but the time is coming when I will no longer speak to you in figurative language, but I will tell you plainly about the Father. In that day you will ask in my name, and I do not say to you that I shall pray the Father for you, for the Father himself loves you, because you have loved me, and have believed that I came forth from God. That's key. You believe that I came forth from God. Verse 28, I came forth from the Father, and have come into the world. Again, I leave the world to go to the Father. His disciples said to him, see, now you are speaking plainly and using no figure of speech. Now listen to this. Now we are sure you know all things and have no need that anyone should question you. By this we believe that you came forth from God. You see, a lot of religions are based upon a prophet who is just the man that God has chosen to do a work. And whole systems have been built around a prophet, or maybe a couple prophets. Jesus is saying, that's not it. You have to believe that I was sent by God, not chosen on earth, but sent from heaven down to earth, and that I'm going back again, and the beginning of chapter 14, and that I'm going to come back and get you and take you where I am. I mean, that's the basis of what he's trying to get them to grapple with that night and come to terms with. Jesus' response is, do you now believe? And I think they reached this epiphany. Yeah, we get it. We get it now. We know that God sent you. We know that you are from God. That's different than everything else. And Jesus says, you're going to have some tribulation in this world, But that's important, that you get this very, very important principle. Now let's drop down to chapter 17 in verse 1. Actually, let's go to verse 6. I have manifested your name to the men whom you have given me out of this world. They were yours, you gave them to me, and they have kept the word. Now they have known that all things which you have given me are from you, for I have given to them the words which you have given me, and they have received them, and have known surely that I came forth from you, and that they have believed that you sent me. So he's praying now for the disciples. He's praying to God. They get it. They understand that I came forth from you, and they understand that you sent me. So let's go down to chapter 17 and verse 20. It says, I do not pray for these alone, but also for those who will believe in me through their word, that they all may be one as you, Father, are in me, and I in you, and they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that you sent me. And the glory which you gave me I have given them, and they may be one just as we are one, I and them, and you and me, that they may be made perfect in one, and that the world may know that you have sent me, and have loved them as you have loved me. Father, listen, this is a very powerful verse. Father, I desire that they also, whom you gave me, be with me where I am, that they may behold my glory which you have given me, for you loved me before the foundation of the world. O righteous Father, the world has not known you, but I have known you, and these have known that you sent me. And I have declared to them your name, and will declare it, and the love which you loved me be in them, and I in them. So what Jesus was wanting them to know that day, I'm telling you this so that you may believe. That you may believe in me. That you may believe in the Father. That you may believe in the relationship that we have. And at the very center of everything that I came to do and to teach, and everything that I want the world to know, after you guys die, I want the world to know that God sent me. And today, we gather together as people who believe that God sent Jesus from heaven. Amen. And that Jesus has ascended back to the Father. And this memorial, I think when Jesus established this, he could say the same thing to us this morning. I want you to remember. I'm giving you this memorial so that you will believe that the Father sent me. And we believe that this morning.